of coffee, watching your favorite TV show, or taking a walk or reading a book. Also learn to give yourself certain punishments when you do not meet up to a task. It will help ginger or spur you into action to do more. So I'm going to leave us with this powerful quote from Abraham Lincoln. You cannot escape the responsibility of tomorrow by evading to do something today. Think about it. Today is a very good day for you to start that thing you've been procrastinating about. Get started. Just do it now. I'll see you tomorrow. There is more to come on the Bempo Breakfast. Bye.
Hey, baby. I'm about to leave. I'm ready.
We're fine. Everything is okay.
You're sure you'll be able to take care of them?
Look at them. We're watching TV.
Baby, it's Monday. I'll be back.
Don't worry. You can come back next week. You'll be fine. I'll be fine. I get sick when I'm far away from you for so long. I lose sleep when I can't get you on the phone. And it's killing me, baby. Oh, I'm missing you, baby. Please don't stay away. I need you every day. What we share, it is so rare it can be bought. Come home, please, baby. Let's kiss and talk all night. Cause I'm missing you, baby. And it's killing me, baby. Please don't stay away. I need you every day. Baby, oh baby, you're like medicine to me. You give me everything I need. Baby, oh baby, you're like medicine to me. You give me everything I need. My heart bleeds every time we fight and you wear a frown. And I smile every single time you come around. Can't do without you. I built my whole world around you. Please don't go away. I need you every day. Oh, your words, they have a way to steal my heart. And your smile is the medicine that cures my doubts. Oh, my beautiful baby, wrap your loving around me. Please don't stay away. I need you every day. Baby, oh baby, you're like medicine to me. You give me everything I need. Baby, oh baby, you're like medicine to me. You give me everything I need. Baby, oh baby, you're like medicine to me. You give me everything I need. Baby, oh baby, you're like medicine to me. You give me everything I need. Baby, oh baby, you're like medicine to me. Give me everything I need. Sweetie, oh baby, medicine for me. Give me everything I need. Yeah. Baby, oh baby, you're like medicine, medicine, medicine to me. Give me everything I need. Baby, I can't do without you. You give me everything I want.
Jesus. All right, welcome back to the Bumper Breakfast Show. On the side of the show, we're talking about xenophobia, the attacks, and then the latest development. And I must tell you that over the weekend, quite a number of people who thought that by Friday, as a matter of fact, most people just felt that Nigerians would be back in Nigeria, you know, as many people as needed to be back here will be back here by then. But unfortunately, the South African government stopped certain people from making it back to the country. Some were forcefully removed from the aircraft, some were detained. And of course, the plane that even went there to bring people was detained for about 8 to 10 hours before it could evacuate the first set of people who came back to Nigeria. Overall, about 640 people had come forward to say they are willing to come back to the country. And of course, the federal government has provided opportunity for them to come back. Air Peace offered to use their aircraft to evacuate people back to Nigeria. And Air Peace actually raised alarm and said that they're not going to do that, at least for the last 1 week. Meanwhile, the chairman of the Diaspora Commission, Mrs. Abike Dabirewa, over the weekend promised that by Sunday, evacuation activities of people wanting to leave South Africa back to Nigeria would continue. Now, is this the most important thing right now? Of course, the body language of the South African government over time had shown in, you know, that they were not really, because last week the Internal Affairs Minister of South Africa was saying something like, this is not an issue that can be resolved. They cannot stop anybody, as it were, from, you know, attacking anybody. So it was more of the body language was saying, you know what, we can't stop this attack, we can only advise, and all and all and all. So right now, the South African president, of course, is now making new plans to bring people down to Nigeria. I just take some of those issues that have come up as a result of some of those developments that have come up as a result of the interventions that have been done in this matter. Firstly, the former External Affairs Minister and the Professor of Political Science, Professor Bolaji Akinyemi, is urging the Nigerian government to take South Africa to the International Criminal Court of Justice, because he said the violence against Nigerians and other Africans in parts of South Africa had erupted on the 1st of September, forcing the Nigerian government to evacuate its citizens from the country. Akinyemi accused the South African government of failing to protect Nigerians and making statements unbecoming of a responsible country, which is one of the things I was talking about, saying they can't stop the attacks and nobody can stop the attacks and all of that, which showed, you know, to a lot of people that they were not really willing to do so much to stop the attack. So our guests are still in the studio this morning. The attorney at law, Mr. Dapo Akinosun, is still here with us. Mr. Dapo, you're a lawyer, and Professor Bolaji Akinyemi is alleging that Nigeria should go to the criminal court, international criminal court, and sue South Africa for saying that they cannot protect Nigerian citizens and other Africans. Do you think that's possible?
Oh yes, definitely. South Africa is also a signatory to the United Nations Charter on human rights, and every human being that lives within your territory deserves to be protected. Indeed, the president of South Africa can be brought before that court to answer for on charges of criminal attacks on the Nigerian citizens there, because the crime to their life, they have the right of movement, the right to liberty to movement is also restricted now, because they're not allowed to leave South Africa freely as
freely,
so
yes.
there's a lot of things that the South African government is doing wrong in its approach. To say that you cannot protect people within your country or stop attacks definitely is a very careless statement, if the minister did say that. And we do know that a lot of the times they've looked the other way, is why this thing has continued. But
To
definitely,
linger.
they have their own problems, they have their own challenges. The police in South Africa is probably even more corrupt than the ones we complain about in Nigeria.
In Nigeria.
And it is only when you are there, you're a victim of the system, that you understand that they also have their own challenges, which they're still grappling with. And being able to fight what is going on because of angst and jealousy of the poorer people who feel oppressed, and see the international community coming into their country and doing well while they are not able to gather themselves together, it affects them too, because many of the people who are complaining are their relatives, they are their families, so they're not totally removed from it. And if you expect them to react properly or responsibly, we may find ourselves in a very difficult situation. But surely the federal government, I have even advocated that apart from going to court as well, if it continues, then the federal government can take reciprocal action or look at ways to deal with them economically. For one of the things I've suggested is rather than going to burn ShopRite and fight, that is criminal on its own part too. That's not the kind of thing we can do, but we can restrict movement of monies from Nigeria to South Africa. I believe that the balance of trade, it moves more money going from Nigeria
And they
to
have
South
companies
Africa.
here that is moving money
Companies
there.
are always evacuating money. MTN makes the most money from Nigeria. DSTV is Nigerian, is South African based. So,
keep the money within.
So until we resolve these issues and we're able to adjudicate on compensation issues on what is payable to Nigerians who have had their businesses affected in South Africa, let's also look at ways we can get some process to hold down this funds, stop the movement of funds, and then we can talk better.
Right. I'll still go back to some of those statements because quite a number of people in South Africa made those statements. The Foreign Affairs Minister, the former Deputy Minister of Police, the Defense Minister, some of those people from South Africa actually made those some funny statements which people are now holding them responsible for. But let's look at the response of the federal government not going for the economic summit that was meant to take place in South Africa at that particular week when things were really hot over there. Is it adequate enough as a response to just refuse to go for the summit, like every other African leader also refused to go? But is it adequate enough as a response? Of course, Nigerians are calling that South African companies in Nigeria there should be a clampdown of some sort on those companies. Nigeria should respond. Nigeria as a country should respond. As the government responded adequately, in your opinion?
I didn't think so. I don't think so at all. When it comes to issue of diplomacy,
yes,
for some time now, I believe that we've not been carrying our weight in the diplomatic circle as we used to do. Well, years back during the military era, you will have seen a very prompt and decisive action being taken immediately. There was a time when issues that has to do with diplomatic relation between Nigeria and some other country arises, and they just nationalize their companies around here and take an action immediately. I will say that you need to see a single American citizen in problem in another country, and you see the response of the American government. The whole issue of this xenophobia it goes to show us failure in governance, both in South Africa and in Nigeria. There are quite a lot of things that, well, in South Africa they have their own problem. They couldn't control. If they said Nigerians are the one perpetrating crimes there, it is the duty of the government there to have taken care of prevention of crime within their country. And it's not meant to be given to the general populace to pounce on people, start burning down people, looting people's property, destroying things. So the South African government has failed, and the Nigerian government has failed to respond adequately. Because there are quite a lot of conflicting stories that even the airpiece that has gone there to evacuate, I don't know. Some people say it's a private-owned company.
Yeah, it is.
And,
it is.
Whether the government is paying for it or the man has just volunteered to do that himself, there are quite a lot of conflicting stories there. So exactly what is... The government is so timid. The federal government is so timid in their action. It's as if they are afraid of the South African government, or there's something fishy somewhere. They are not really pulling their weight. Well, I say Nigerian has stopped being the giant of Africa it used to be diplomatically, then the big brother that protects everybody, that fights even for liberation in South Africa itself, moving soldiers to Liberia, to Sierra Leone, to Sudan. Nigeria is the big brother everywhere. But now, I think we have failed diplomatically in a lot of ways, and we are no longer pulling our weight again. And that's the result of what we are seeing now.
Well, I wouldn't exactly agree with that. We've stopped being the giant of Africa. You cannot do without Nigeria and the African continent, no matter how you cut it, because out of every one out of every 10 black men all over the world are Nigerians. So in terms of numbers, we have it. In terms of support to the region, Nigeria has also been in the forefront. I'm not sure what we need now, what would have happened in South Africa would be a military intervention type of thing.
Okay.
It's still at the diplomatic level.
Okay.
It's a situation of unruliness going on in the country, South Africa. The diplomatic steps have to be followed through first before we can think of any kind of response which can involve military or going into the territory to go and rescue our people. He hasn't gotten that bad. However, in the steps taken, I would even think that the federal government withdrawing or recalling our envoy, not attending the World Economic Forum, is certainly a good step to take, as is one of the ways of showing displeasure in international community that I don't agree with what you're doing, we're not happy with you, so we will not do some things we were agreed to do together before. And you can see other countries as well. And it's not only Nigeria that is affected, by the way. Many other African countries that are affected.
Unfortunately, we're the biggest.
Because we have the most number. And in terms of numbers, we may not even be the most people in South Africa as foreigners.
Biggest in Africa.
We are not the biggest number of, we don't have the biggest number of citizens.
Of course, in South Africa.
The neighboring African countries within there have more people.
Yes,
and,
over there.
So it affects everybody. And you see, our country, by not going to WEF, had made a point. I would argue that I don't even think we should withdraw our ambassador yet, or our envoy there.
But we should send theirs back.
Because who will protect our people who are there? Who will speak for them if we withdraw? If we recall our people there? I'm a bit concerned about why we have other ground staff. We also need that presence to rally the people around and give a confidence. But don't also forget that this thing happened spontaneously. It is difficult to say we're taking immediate action. Federal government has to go through a process of sending planes and raising monies. Many people went there without telling the federal government anyway. When you were going, you didn't tell them I'm going to South Africa to relocate.
Of course, nobody tells government.
When you get there now, that becomes a problem for government. So I think we should be moderate in our expectation of interventions. And as long as, for now, there's been a slowdown in those attacks, so we can talk things over. And as I've said, there are other ways I would recommend that, look, if they're hurting us, they have business here. We may not nationalize it because it's not a military era. The kind of, if you were going to do that now, there's a democratic process, legislation has to be carried along.
And I remember that the national chairman of the APC actually suggested that some of their businesses here should be taken over.
So it's going to be a process, but it's not something that will be...
it happens spontaneously. No. This issue is not what started this year. It has always been, it's dated back for some time. The thing is that if you have not taken an action,
do you know how many people are still applying to go to South Africa every day?
That's another issue. Not only applying to go to South Africa every day, to get out of the country every day.
No, I mean,
so it's not a matter of South Africa.
It's not a matter of South Africa.
So if I know there's
quite a lot of Nigerians are migrating.
As a matter of fact, I have been robbed in South Africa before by policemen in police uniform driving their official squad car in South Africa.
Wow.
They asked me for identification. I brought my wallet out of my pocket to show them my identity card. In the process, he was sitting in this guy, collected my wallet, pretending as if he wanted to look at my ID in it, opened it and saw my money in it, and he said, "Oh, are you a druggist?" I said, "What does that mean?" He said, "What do you do for a living?" I said, "I'm a lawyer." And said, "Oh," but by this time I pulled out all the cash, pretending as if he was checking it out again. And he when I said I'm a lawyer, he just gave my wallet to me. Meanwhile, he had dropped all the $100 bills in my wallet into the car.
Wow.
Gave my wallet to me, and they just
Back
paid
to
off.
you.
So I called the authorities, they said, well, if I caught the number, because I was just walking, it was a distance of less than 5 minutes from my hotel to the store I went to. But so, I mean, from that time, I used to go to South Africa on holidays before. I used to
But
go
from
there
that
to
time
do
you
for business.
refused.
From that time, I managed my journeys there. So, talk less of when I started hearing of xenophobia. I've not, even when I'm invited to a conference there, I'm careful to go there. And so when you say that we know these things are going on, people want to leave Nigeria for varying reasons. And the problem we have is that many people are leaving Nigeria. They say there's no work in Nigeria, there's no work in Nigeria, that's where we're going. I agree with you. But what you find is that many of them are going to South Africa, they're going to London, where life is supposed to be better, where there are jobs supposed to be there, but then they still go and involve in criminality. How do you explain that? So you see that some people are just not ready for the hard work. They want to just live life like without any history, without any process, and just start living large. There's a process for everything, but many Nigerians just want to get rich without the hard labor of it.
All right, some of those issues again that we have seen so far, look at the statement by the former Commonwealth Secretary General, Chief Emeka Anyaoku, who said it would not be wise for Nigeria to approach the ICC on the matter, stressing that the two countries have large mutual interests to protect for themselves and for Africa. He said the statement of the apology by the South African president yesterday at the funeral of the former Zimbabwean president Robert Mugabe in Harare should be welcomed, and high-level diplomacy should now be employed by Nigeria to de-escalate the situation and make South Africa pay compensation as it were. Now, the South African president has refused to pay compensation to legitimate Nigerian businesses and other African countries, the businesses there that have been, vandalized, destroyed. Said no compensation, that they're not going to do it. As far as it's concerned, first is the defense minister said they can't protect, the people, that they can't stop the violence, as it were. I know that Professor Bola Jakiyemi actually said that that statement by the foreign affairs minister, he said it amounts to Afrophobia. That's what he called it, because this is a fight against other blacks. This is black against black. It's another form of apartheid, as it were. And that's what people are calling it right now. But now the South African president coming to say, we apologize, we won't do it again, or we'll take action or something. But he's still insisting they're not going to compensate the legitimate businesses that were destroyed, not just of Nigerians now.
No, well,
You want to say it? Okay?
This thing is very, very straightforward. It shows that the government of South Africa itself are trying, to politicize this issue in order to launder their own image within their own citizenry themselves. They have failed to provide quite a lot of things for their citizenry. You discover that if you go to South Africa, the level of poverty there too is top heavy. Like I watched an instance where a lot of them gathered together and said, this is the type of structure they are emphasizing, and saying that for them to get employment, they are saying that they should be paid this also amount. But there are quite a lot of foreigners that troop in from other countries, including Nigeria. And these ones are ready to do menial work at a lower salary. And so they have taken up all their jobs.
So there's a sense of entitlement here.
That's exactly the same problem we have in Nigeria years back when the Ghanaians came. And the Ghanaians will take a teaching job, they will take so many jobs, and they will take at a very lower rate, because the money they take, when translated back to their own currency, makes sense. And so when a Nigerian or other African countries get to South Africa and they go on that lower level of salary, taking back home in exchange with their own currency, it pays them. So they are ready to come low. And so these people who are the real indigenous do not have work.
And you know, Nigerians are ready to struggle.
And so right now you discover that
work.
the government there, having failed in their responsibility to their citizenry, are now trying to say, okay, don't worry, if you do this, if you want them to go back, let them go back.
So that's
and
what you think the body language
whatever
is.
you want to do, you can do to them. And so I believe that it is we ourselves that we should correct the situation we have at home. If we make the situation at home comfortable in the first place, we don't have a lot of people trying to go out there. Let's face the fact here. Look at the rate of inflation in the country now. Look at the level of unemployment. And so the situation is very, very difficult at home. And so a lot of people feel if I can get out, I will get it better.
Yes.
So the South African government is trying to protect their own people. I think what we should do also is give the situation at home a very comfortable situation. And apart from that, we should protect our citizenry. If they're having problem anywhere, let's bring them back. Let's bring them back, especially those who are willing to come back. Let's bring them back and make the situation comfortable.
Now, for those who are coming back, the federal government is proposing that BOI, that they will be given, I think, recharge card of 40,000 naira, will be given a phone SIM card, and then BOI will be providing soft loans for them, training, business training, and then soft loans to them for them to be able to start businesses here in Nigeria, which means that the government is looking at them becoming employers of labor as well, or at least having a means of livelihood immediately they come down.
What are they doing for those of us who are here? Already, people who are here, what are they doing? Have they provided those things for those who are here? And then they are saying somebody who is coming back, they are providing for those ones.
You see, that is Afrophobia too. Now you are angry that they are providing for those who are coming. That is the challenge we have. It is, yes, the South African government is definitely, I agree with Venerable, that is looking at who to blame for his own failures in governance and pushing the responsibility to other Africans who have come in to take your jobs, who are not letting you do these things, is surely an easy, low-hanging fruit for them.
Yeah, for them.
However, should we accept his apology without compensation? I don't think so. I think we should insist that there should be some form of compensation that is paid to businesses that can be shown were
legally
legal
set up
and were destroyed there. We should have a way of calculating these losses and then making a formal demand for it. However, as Venerable also said, federal government offering to resettle those who went out creates a problem for the federal government too. Those who are here asking, or will be asking, we have been here, we didn't go out at all. What are you doing to help us? But
the same opportunities that they are giving them, except for the recharge card anyway, and the phone, is available to businesses. It's available to businesses who are
you know the proverb of the prodigal son?
Yes.
He said, this one has gone and come back. The elder brother says, myself, who is here?
I've stayed.
I've stayed.
I've been with you.
I've been with you all along.
What have you done for me? And
what have you given unto me? You see, somebody described Nigeria, I think it was Sheun Kuti. He said Nigeria is a concentration, an open-air concentration camp. He said it's only in a concentration camp that people try to escape. He said they say people are migrating. He said people are not actually migrating. They are trying to escape. See what people go through, passing through the desert, through Libya, just trying a lot of danger. And they are there. Now South African government saying they are not allowing some other people to come back. Like you said, they forcibly bring them out from the plane. They said they have no legal or proper immigration papers. Because some of them goes there, maybe they go with visiting visa for 3 months. If they are to go into other countries in the world, go to America, go to UK and find out that number of Nigerians who went there with visiting visa and disappeared and are not interested in coming back again. That's why you go to the embassy of countries in Nigeria now, they look at you because they know you are trying to escape. They know you are trying to escape. And so they even cluster everybody together. Even some of us who are comfortable enough here and say that, well, we are here. But when you approach them for visa, they will look at you twice and tell you they are suspecting that you will go and you will not come back. I was asking, why would I want to go anywhere and will not want to come back? But that's the way they see everybody. They just group everybody like that. Know how much American government is exploiting from people to get visa. I call it's a scam. You pay for visa that is not given to you. I was traveling I just came back from South Korea. If they don't give you visa, they don't ask you to pay visa fee. It's when they sure they are giving you the visa, they ask you to go and pay for the fee. But it's not the same with UK. It's not the same with America. That's a scam.
So
and our federal government is not doing anything. That's part of our diplomatic failure.
If you don't apply to go, they will collect your money.
So basically, you think they're
my
not stopping you from applying to
my
go?
attitude to these things is that, look, a lot of the times, if you're going for proper business, you will get your visa. There are some that are denied even when they're going because of the people he has mentioned who will go on visiting visas and not come back. And those are the things that are giving us a bad reputation out there. American government was recently arresting scammers. You know how many Nigerians were involved in it as well. So we have a real issue, and it still goes back to me to what are we doing to deepen our economy here. The money that we circulate in Nigeria is not enough for all the people that are in Nigeria. Indians are going around the world known for IT, known for developing. There are many good Nigerians out there who are making waves. My niece, for instance, won a gold medal in the Olympics running for America. However, there are many more Nigerians who are
running
doing
for America,
very
being the key
well
word.
in the things that they are doing. But we don't celebrate them enough. One. Two, those who are doing the bad things tend to smear everybody who is doing well. And all Nigerians are just criminalized for what we have not done. So it is unfortunate that this situation is now catching up everywhere you turn. Even students who want to go to school are being refused visas because they say if they go, they won't come back. But those who are not going to come back, and we put so much effort. I have a cousin who, after schooling in University of Ibadan, he had a second-class upper in computer science, but he was determined never to work in Nigeria. He went to America, he went through Saudi Arabia, through all the desert that you mentioned. It took him 2 years to enter the US. Eventually, when he got there, within 6 months, he was caught and deported back to Nigeria. He did not do 3 months in Nigeria before he took off again, and I believe he's somewhere in Australia now. But it was just, he's educated, went through school in Nigeria, almost free, got 2-1 in computer science, but did not work one day in the system.
They did not want
that kind of fellow, if he had put his mind to growing Nigeria, doing Nigerian economy, would probably be much better. But we're not resilient in terms of what can I do to make my country better. We're always looking at the other side, which always appears greener. But when you get to the other side, you find out that you are a second-class citizen. The things that you have been trained for, you really cannot work it.
You really cannot even
so you end
do
up doing menial jobs. You end up as taxi drivers. But when they get stuck in that system, they can't come back. They sit down there in the past, complain about the things we don't have. I mean, in fairness to Nigeria, Nigeria government has gone out of power. Power was terrible before, but we must say that it has gotten much better. It can get a lot better, but there's no investment in it because the money is needed to turn it around. We don't have it for the infrastructure. So the question is, how do we get more money into our country? How do you get the system to work? But we're all looking at what can I get from the money that is available. We're not looking at how can I develop something that will bring California. in the United States, the budget of California state alone exceeds that of the whole of Africa. But those are brought in by private companies doing business in California. What business am I doing that will help Nigerian economy grow?
It's not actually good. What business am I doing to make Nigerian economy grow? But what is the Nigerian government doing? Looking at, we have one wonderful thing here. We have population. And when we have people, when you have people, you are, as a government, supposed to turn the population you have into financial benefits by making them meaningfully engaged in producing wealth. There are quite a lot of ways Nigerian government could produce wealth with the people we have. But we have so many selfish people in government whose main purpose is just look at the commonwealth and see what they can take for themselves. It's not what they can provide for the citizenry. That's the bane of our problem. If you look at our population, the way it is, it's supposed to be turned over to money. Anytime I go to, for example, Computer Village, or I look at the score of people roaming about the street of Lagos, I see money in people who are supposed to be meaningfully engaged, but who are not productive because nobody is making them productive. Nobody is creating avenue. The state government in a lot of areas are sitting down, getting the money from oil and seeing how they can distribute it, share themselves and all this thing, when they are supposed to be providing wealth. For example, if you are a governor in the Ekiti state, you are supposed to have looked at the arable land there, see how you turn the whole place to agricultural benefits, and we produce enough food, not only for ourselves, but enough for export, and make a lot of money. And stop relying just on oil, which we have in and we just distribute. So it is still a failure in governance.
I agree with both of you, but as we begin to round off the show, we have just about a minute to go. The South African president has decided to send envoys to 7 African countries: Zambia, Nigeria, Niger, Ghana, Senegal, Tanzania, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Zambia. Now, he's sending all of this envoy to us. What do we expect to see? Because he said he wants them to reaffirm South Africa's commitment to the rule of law. That's what he's saying. And South Africa is committed to the ideals of the Pan-African unity and solidarity. So he's sending them to come and affirm all of that here. What does that give to us?
Well, the affirmation of the rule of law should first of all be talking about compensation. By the time they come, if they say we believe in the sanctity of contracts, we believe in the rule of law, then they should also be telling us how they are going to compensate Nigerians who have been attacked.
Lost their lives, lost their businesses?
Yeah, definitely. We cannot talk rule of law without adequate redress for what has gone wrong too. Because it is when there is a feeling in the judicial system, when the people don't feel as if I've been rightly compensated or I've been treated, I've gotten my own justice, is what leads to a breakdown of law and order. Because if I lost my brother or my breadwinner in that country, I'm going to be bitter for life. And until I get a way to get, so there are people who are going to feel very embittered. And anywhere they see South Africans, you have the transferred aggression, which you mentioned. Not necessarily because the person has done mirror, but because I feel the whole of South Africa has offended me. So we have to find a way of balancing it. And the redress or the envoy should be coming to tell us how they're going to make us feel better, not just to tell me they believe in the rule of law.
I even believe they're talking with the two sides of their mouth. These are people who are talking there, that they cannot prevent what is happening there, and they are coming here.
No, he is apologized anyway.
If you are apologizing to me, you must be able to assure me that what happened will not happen again. But in this case, there is no assurance that what happened will not happen again. Then you are coming to tell me I am apologizing. Meanwhile, I have told you that right there, I don't have the power to prevent that thing from happening again. And you are saying the rule of law. In fact, there's no rule of law right there in South Africa. You watch those xenophobic attacks, you see their police just lying back and saying, watching. You see even the head of the different parastatals, they are saying, well, those people have the right to do what they are doing. So that's what you are doing internally. And you now send envoys to tell us, relax. Not, I don't believe them.
I was reading in the newspaper a WhatsApp message recently. A country where the government was going to the cities and arresting the young boys, young persons who could not justify what they were doing in those cities and sending them back to the farms taking them back to their villages and homelands and telling them to go and farm. I see a lot of unemployed people on the streets of Lagos who have no business in Lagos, who are probably, many of them were responsible for the attacks on ShopRite and the criminality that is going on.
Yes.
I think we need to get to that point too, where if you don't have any reason for being where you are, maybe you should go back. Bank of Industry can give you loan to go and farm.
There's a law. I was looking at the criminal law, and I discovered that police can pick you up for lack of visible livelihood. That yes, when they see you, there's a law
and
that says that's a lawyer.
That was what was called the offense of wandering. But
yes, wandering. They say they cannot see that you have.
You're gainfully employed.
You are gainfully employed, and so let's get people employed.
All right, that's where we end the show this morning. It's been an interesting conversation with the two gentlemen. I say a big thank you to Mr. Akinosun for joining us, and of course, very professional. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. We hope to have you together again quite soon. My name is Tomisin. Do have a pleasant day. See you again tomorrow, bright and early, on the Bumper Breakfast Show. Have a wonderful day.